Breaking news, Natasha Ryan, the girl in the cupboard, found dead. Burglary backfires, the Bungled robbery leaving one crook caught out. Cameras in classrooms, the new call to keep teachers safe from students. The desperate search for a trainee nurse buried in the rubble of a terrifying explosion. Plus the winter health warning as RSV cases skyrocket. And for real life, our very own Bluey's big role selling Queensland to the world.
This is 9 News Queensland with Mia Glover.
Good evening. We begin tonight with major breaking news out of Rockhampton, where the body of former missing person Natasha Ryan has been found. Many will remember Ryan as the girl who hid in her boyfriend's cupboard, feared dead for almost 5 years. We'll go straight to Jacob Chico in our Brisbane newsroom now. Jacob, good evening to you. You've spoken to police. What have they had to say?
Mia, I have. They've confirmed the body of 40-year-old Natasha Ryan was found this morning at a Rockhampton golf course. Of course, Natasha Ryan was 14 years old when she was reported missing in August 1998. Many will remember back then it was around 5 years where police believed she was the victim of prolific serial killer Leonard Fraser, who was actually charged and was on trial for various counts of murder, including Ryan's in 2003. It was at the same time then, though, that police received a tip-off suggesting Ryan was in fact alive. So they raided a home, and that's where they found her hiding in her boyfriend's cupboard, ending any speculation as to what happened to her. And it since came to light then that she had willingly disappeared to live with her boyfriend at the time, Mia. She became known as the girl in the cupboard, and today, sadly, confirmation she has passed away. We spoke to police today. They've said a report is being prepared for the coroner and her death isn't being treated as suspicious.
Jacob, thank you for the update. And if you're someone you know is struggling to cope, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14 or lifeline.org.au. Now to a bungled burglary that needs to be seen to be believed. A group of wannabe luxury car thieves running over one of their own in a 12-ton tank and ultimately thwarting their plan. And tonight, they're still on the run.
The blood-stained aftermath
grinder disc and what looks like something out of CSI
of a bungled burglary.
Apparently someone thought that they deserved my cars more than I do.
But this tank provided a last line of defence.
They've come prepared. They've got crowbar, a grinder, a torch, with everything but their own brain, apparently.
It happened on Friday. 3 hooded figures break into Mark Truno's Coopers Plains workshop to steal his cherished collection of cars. But the military-grade security threw a spanner in the works. So one man goes to work at the back of the tank with an angle grinder. But in their haste to reverse it, they're crushing that man in the process. The driver climbing out, but clearly no honour among these thieves. Instead of going to help, they rifle through more drawers and run, leaving their injured mate to crawl out after being pinned against the bollard.
Someone has done themselves one hell of a mischief. The CCTV reminded me of like Home Alone, where there's clown criminals just doing things over and over just wrong.
Still, they managed to get away with keys to 3 cars worth more than $500,000.
It's really upsetting because, these are 2 of my dream cars from when I was a kid, and then just to see someone sort of bust down the door and try and take them, 12 tonnes of military vehicle, thwarted their plans.
It's only by pure chance that this tank happened to be here. It's currently being restored to raise money for the Tough Times Foundation, which builds wheelchair accessible vans.
It looks like this guy's going to need one of his own now after this episode.
Cam Inglis, 9 News.
Desperate teachers are calling for a trial of body cameras to help combat a rise in violence from students. While some feel the move is drastic and a legal minefield, others say it would make classrooms safer for everyone.
They're warned by frontline police in the face of danger. Now teachers want body cameras to be part of their uniform in the classroom.
Teachers are being physically and verbally abused every day. That's not okay.
The calls for a trial in Queensland schools comes as student violence spikes, with more than 20,000 kids excluded or suspended due to physical aggression last year.
Desks are being thrown at them, chairs are being thrown at them, they're being punched, they're being spat on.
While children have been filming fights in the schoolyard, the step for educators to take footage in the classroom, some say, will also help parents understand the complex behavioural issues they're facing every day.
That impacts on the learning and teaching of every student within that class.
It's a move already trialled in the UK and used in the US.
Tennessee teachers now have the option of wearing body camera style lanyards while in the classroom for their safety as well as that of their students.
But the suggestion's dividing opinions here.
If it's something that the teachers are requiring to protect themselves, then I'm all for it.
We're really concerned probably around the privacy of our students and our staff, and this would be a bridge too far, we think.
Flagging not only legal and cost ramifications, but many feel it wouldn't get to the core of fixing the problem.
It's a part of a possible or potential solution, but there's a lot to be considered before you go down that road.
We've got a range of suggestions, and I'll put that to that expert group and see what they say.
Kate Lamb, 9 News.
One of the state's most controversial former judges has given his own scathing verdict on the state of Queensland's youth crime crisis. Clive Waugh believes young offenders are getting away with a slap on the wrist and accused the state government of not dealing with the problem. He wants more youth detention centres and victims of crime to be given the right to appeal sentences. Premier Stephen Miles says he hasn't dismissed Clive Waugh's ideas.
I'm going to ask to meet with that retired judge this week to hear firsthand from him what he thinks we need to do. But can I say from reading the comments today, I largely agree with him.
The Premier also referred to his early intervention strategy and community safety plan as ways his government is tackling youth crime. The search in Wayland in Sydney's northwest is growing more desperate tonight for a woman believed to have been buried in the house explosion. Crews are working non-stop, combing through the rubble amid increasing concerns that gas had been leaking from the complex long before the blast.
The view from the air and the enormity facing rescuers. The Wayland unit complex blown to pieces. And feared buried in the rubble, a young trainee nurse who was visiting her mother. Carol was in the unit below when the complex blew up.
All of a sudden, there was this loud explosion. It just like a... And then everything started to come down, ceilings everywhere.
As concrete beams and tiles rained down, Carol sheltered under a door frame.
I couldn't get out. There was no stairwell. It was gone. My neighbour's unit was gone. And the firemen came and got you out.
Throughout the night, they kept searching. Like a scene from an earthquake disaster, a human chain of fireys, police and paramedics, carefully passing chunks of rubble, concrete and tiles. And then, moments of complete silence as rescuers slid under the concrete slab that had fallen one story, listening for any hint that the nurse might be alive.
So the physical impacts of that explosion and then, of course, the consequence of the structural collapse in all the parts of the building would have been a very challenging situation for anyone to survive.
As brutal as the explosion was, finding someone alive is a delicate procedure. The Urban Search and Rescue team assisted in the Turkey earthquake. Here, they're using thermal imaging cameras and ultra-sensitive microphones. So the question remains what caused this explosion. All the speculation continues to centre on a gas leak, either in the top or the bottom story. Andrew's grandfather was one of those hospitalised.
I think there was always a gas smell sort of thing, like a leak.
The units were government-owned, and the possible build-up of gas is being looked at.
The Housing Minister is investigating that promptly, urgently. That's of grave concern.
The mother of the missing nurse stayed at the search overnight, and she was there again today, keeping vigil, praying for news and being looked after by neighbours.
She kept saying, my daughter's strong, my daughter's strong, my daughter's strong. And I just said to her, just have faith and have strength. And at this stage, we need to look after you.
The 5 people taken to hospital have been discharged. As for those who lost their home,
I'm just happy to be standing here, and that was our little community, all us oldies.
Mark Burrows, 9 News.
Let's go straight to Helene Liambetsos, who's in Wayland for us tonight. Helene, good evening to you. What's the latest on the rescue operation?
Mia, well, this gruelling search is now stretching into a second night. Late this afternoon, we saw some heavy machinery brought in to clear out 2 massive slabs of concrete. That was to clear up another section for firefighters to then painstakingly comb through. Now, as this search goes on, focus now also turning into how this happened. Many residents reporting smelling gas leaks multiple times. The state's housing department has confirmed that over the last year there have been 2 reports of a gas leak from this exact property, but the department says on both occasions both of those issues were fixed. But, of course, questions still remain. Mia?
Yeah, they certainly do. Thanks for that update. Well, a Gold Coast jewellery store has been targeted by an opportunistic thief. The entire ordeal caught on camera. Live now to McKenna Bailey. And McKenna, good evening to you. He was in and out within just a couple of minutes.
In less than 2 minutes, Mia, this lone thief managed to steal $5,000 worth of jewellery from CTJ, a well-known Gold Coast jeweller located on Upton Street. The bundle business was broken into just before 4 o'clock this morning. The bike bandit could be seen scoping out the store around half an hour before returning and then striking. Wearing a plastic raincoat and unfazed by security cameras, he smashes his way through the front window using a crowbar. Quickly climbing through the broken glass, he sets his sights on 2 cabinets at the front of the store, stealing display jewellery mainly consisting of watches. Now, police responded promptly, arriving on scene within 10 minutes, while the owner wasn't far behind after being alerted by alarms. And after a sleepless night, he was left to clean up the mess this morning. Now, Mia, the offender remains on the run tonight, and police are urging anyone with information to come forward.
McKenna, thank you. Australia is preparing to surrender billions of dollars in gas revenue to stop Beijing's attempts to woo one of our nearest neighbours. 9 News can tonight reveal that the federal government has offered the Timorese government incentives to fast-track a long-stalled offshore gas project.
China has been getting cosy with Timor-Leste, and it's beginning to concern Australia. So Canberra's upping the ante through Foreign Minister Penny Wong's special envoy, former Victorian Premier Steve Bracks.
There is a significant offer there. It'll be of great benefit to Timor-Leste.
9 News can reveal Timor-Leste has been offered a multi-billion-dollar lifeline to fast-track the long-stalled Greater Sunrise offshore gas project.
To see the field developed as soon as feasibly possible.
And for the revenue to flow to the Timor-Leste government.
The Greater Sunrise gas field, 450 kilometres northwest of Darwin and 150 kilometres south of Timor-Leste, holds $50 billion worth of gas. If Timor-Leste agrees to have the gas piped to Darwin for processing, it'll not only receive 80% of the revenue, but Australia has also offered half its share to set up a dedicated infrastructure fund for Timor.
We don't want that pipeline for the sake of a pipeline. The pipeline coming to Timor-Leste will generate thousands of jobs.
The Timorese want to spur economic development by processing the gas in the south of their nation, but this may be commercially unviable compared to the Darwin option, both sides agreeing to an independent analysis.
If it is persuasive enough, I'm sure the government would consider it.
A promising sign, given the bad blood caused 20 years ago when Australia spied on the Timorese during negotiations over oil and gas fields. Australia's also offering Timor-Leste more migrant worker access, plus an equity stake in the Darwin processing plant to put the impoverished nation on a stable financial footing.
We don't want to push them to even think of going to China.
Getting gas flowing from Greater Sunrise has become a top strategic objective for the Albanese government to give Timor-Leste the ability to resist Beijing's influence. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
The federal government has vowed to jail anyone found guilty of distributing sexually explicit deep-fake images or videos. If passed, the laws will make it illegal to share any non-consensual, altered pornography with a maximum penalty of 7 years behind bars. She's Queensland's own, but we know Bluey is adored right around the world, which is why the beloved blue healer is the face of the state's newest tourism campaign, encouraging travellers to visit Bluey's home. The creative campaign launched today off the back of a new world record set by hundreds of Bluey's biggest fans.
Keepy uppy Bluey style. How much do you love Bluey?
Lots. Obsessed.
We've seen it on our screens.
Our toys save the balloon.
Just brings us together. We sing the theme song as it comes on every time.
Bluey!
And today, the biggest game ever played out right across the Sunshine State. Across an almost 2,000-kilometre long playing field in the outback, in the far north, on the shores of Kurrawa Beach on the Gold Coast and in Brisbane. What do you think the secret is to keep you uppy?
Just keeping your eye on the ball.
Up to 700 self-proclaimed pros fought tooth and nail, stopping the ball from hitting the ground, all in the name of a new world record secured today.
Congratulations! Really exciting. I didn't know I was going to actually be a part of the world record, but I was, and now I'm in the book.
It's only fitting Bluey's home state of Queensland takes the cake. The world record, the launching pad for the state's newest and biggest tourism campaign in more than a decade.
We're showcasing to the world what a wonderful state Bluey and her family live in.
With the help of our very own wildlife warrior.
Ever wished you could live in Bluey's world for real life? Well, that's all of Queensland.
The pitch is to the beloved Blue Healers fans around the world. Come and see Bluey's backyard for yourself.
We have used this opportunity to showcase our Great Barrier Reef, our beaches, our ancient rainforest, our outback and everything in between.
And the only thing left to say,
hooray!
Jacob Chico, 9 News.
Well, roofs blown off and trees toppled as a suspected tornado rattles the country's west. A drunk driver found 9 times the legal limit. The shocking find inside a US teenager's suitcase. And at the end of sport, the big change coming to the way you'll board a plane. Plus, a 100-year-old woman shares her secret to a long, happy life.
Forget bog billing. Now there's a new and easier way to never pay a cent for a visit to the doctor.
How you can now use your private health insurance to see GPs for free.
But will those Queenslanders without private health cover be unfairly penalised?
9 News, your news, Monday.
Police in Canberra have been left stunned after pulling over a Toyota Corolla driving erratically yesterday. The 36-year-old driver allegedly blowing almost 9 times the legal limit, a near fatal level of alcohol. He's been suspended from driving for 90 days, with ACT Police saying it's one of the highest readings they've ever seen. Tortillas, a whisk and 26 kilos of methamphetamine. That was the staggering find inside a US traveller's suitcase at Sydney Airport. Border Force officers uncovering more than 20 packages in total with an estimated value of $24 million. The 18-year-old man has been denied bail and will front court next month. Days after he became a convicted criminal, Donald Trump has stolen the show at a UFC event. The former US president played to the crowd as a key witness in his case slammed him in the press.
From the courthouse to Fight Club.
Donald Trump is in the building and the former president getting a standing ovation from the assembled masses.
2 days after a jury handed him a guilty verdict on 34 counts, Trump, now the first former US president to become a convicted criminal, at a different stoush, the UFC.
Boy, the round of applause he's getting right now is pretty staggering. Well done, mate.
It might have been a raucous reception in New Jersey, but he's received a much colder one from the woman at the centre of his New York trial. Stormy Daniels telling the UK's Sunday Mirror, "I think he should be sentenced to jail and some community service working for the less fortunate, or being the volunteer punching bag at a women's shelter." The former porn star was paid hush money in the days before the 2016 election to stay silent over her affair with Donald Trump. He is completely and utterly out of touch with reality. I've been telling the truth the entire time, she said. Yesterday, Donald Trump was still pleading he'd done nothing wrong.
So it's not hush money. It's a non-disclosure agreement, totally legal.
But it wasn't the hush money payment itself Donald Trump was convicted for. It was that he falsified business records to hide it. Now, the former president has 40 days to find out what punishment the judge has in mind.
President Trump, you're the man, bro. It is a damn travesty what they're doing to you.
In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
Parts of WA have been lashed by a freak storm, bringing with it powerful winds, heavy rain and lightning strikes. Bunbury, south of Perth, was hardest hit. Trees uprooted onto cars and homes, and the roof ripped off this pub with people still inside. Several pub goers were taken to hospital with minor injuries. A winter health warning. The national surge in cases of a contagious and potentially deadly virus as temperatures drop. Who's most at risk and how to protect your family from getting infected? That story is coming up. Well, revving up to raise money and awareness of a cause capturing attention nationwide. Plus, a bizarre balloon campaign. You won't believe what's inside. Why the King has turned to David Beckham for help. And a famous painting targeted by protesters. Police are tonight hunting a brazen thief who targeted a Pinkenba bus depot in the early hours of the morning. The Greyhound bus was stolen after 2 a.m. before the thief drove it all the way to Woodridge, dumping it hours later. Upon locating it, officers ordered the vehicle be towed. Anyone with information should contact police. The 5th annual Ride for Jack has taken over the Gold Coast just days after the state government announced new knife laws to be rolled out later this year. The Beasleys on a mission to pass Jack's Law in every state and territory, giving police greater search powers.
In high spirits on the back of a hog, Brett Beasley is setting the wheels in motion to ban the blade nationwide.
It's all to raise awareness for youth violence, you know. All the money that we raise here just helps us do our school presentations against knife crime and knife violence. So, look, it's fantastic.
Hundreds of riders revving to raise funds for the Jack Beasley Foundation, leaving a lasting legacy for their son Jack, who was fatally stabbed in Surfers Paradise in 2019. Ride for Jack is in its 5th year and there's certainly no signs of slowing down. The Beasleys are revving and ready to introduce Jack's Law across the country.
We're off to Sydney next week, so down there for the introduction of Jack's Law, which is kind of super proud about. And then in 3 weeks' time, we're heading to Melbourne.
Due to speak with the Victorian Premier about adopting Jack's Law, which provides police wanting powers in party precincts and transport hubs, a move already passed in Western Australia.
Now we're getting a lot of knives off the street.
Just last week, the Queensland government announcing a major crackdown on knife crime. Come September 1, the sale of knives as well as gel blasters will be restricted to anyone under 18.
It's another prevention like Jack's Law. Education is the key.
These change makers praised by our former police commissioner.
And what they've achieved is just nothing short of extraordinary. To reach into other states and get that success nationally to keep the community safe is what they're all about.
McKenna Bailey, 9 News.
North Korea has stepped up a bizarre campaign against the South this weekend, sending 600 more balloons filled with rubbish and faeces over the border. Between 20 and 50 balloons arrived each hour overnight. The North began the onslaught earlier this week, calling them, quote, gifts of sincerity. King Charles has teamed up with football royalty to promote his main charity. David Beckham is becoming an ambassador for the King's Foundation. The announcement made today after he met with the monarch last month. The charity was caught up in a cash for honours scandal in 2022. The palace likely hopeful Becks can turn its image around. A climate activist has stuck a sign over a Monet painting in Paris in a protest of global warming. The artwork is protected by glass and therefore not damaged. The woman responsible was swiftly arrested. Next, priceless advice from the Einstein of Wall Street. He reveals what we should all be doing to get ahead. The winter health warning to Queensland families as cases of a contagious virus surge. And the pet owner who took on a bear to save her dog. New York's Wall Street is the heart of the world's finance sector and the home of one very recognisable trader. You may not know Peter Tuchman's name, but his face has certainly appeared countless times in newspapers right around the world. 9 News joined the man, dubbed the Einstein of Wall Street, inside the New York Stock Exchange.
He's ridden the highs, the lows, the moments that matter on Wall Street.
So, look, I have been here for a long time, some say for 100 years.
Peter Tuchman is the most photographed trader in the New York Stock Exchange, a spirited stockman who's been around the block.
Tell me, what are the biggest moments that you've witnessed on Wall Street?
The bubble of 2000, the financial crisis of 07, 08, and obviously COVID. I've seen every crisis and crash since 1987.
The 80s. Ronald Reagan was the US president, Bob Hawke was Australia's Prime Minister, and Black Monday saw the stock market descend into the biggest single-day drop in history.
On that day, that was probably one of the craziest days I've ever experienced. You know, I had never gotten that sense of despair and stress and absolute craziness, feeling like the world was coming to an end.
But the world kept on spinning, and the showman of the stock exchange was snapped and papped time and again.
A lot of those shots were literally in the heat of battle, right? You're buying and selling, representing a customer. You know, there's news out, there's a war happening, it's COVID, markets are opening and closing and all that kind of stuff.
In the 4 decades Peter Tuchman has been working here on Wall Street, things have changed a lot. Technology means trading is now more accessible than ever. In fact, you can do it from the palm of your hand.
Investing, everybody should be investing in their future.
But let's be real. Right now, budgets are tight and the cost of living has soared. So what would the Einstein of Wall Street do?
I'm a cup half full guy, not a cup half empty guy. And I know that people are struggling. My recommendation for people is everybody should be putting money aside on a weekly or monthly basis. Whatever it is, $5, $10, $100, $250, put it into the market in any way you feel fit, right? And sort of have that kind of an account to invest in your future.
And as you invest in your future, Peter Tuchman will be investing too, just as soon as the bell rings at the New York Stock Exchange.
It means that you're about to do some epic, right?
On Wall Street, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
A US woman has learned the hard way never to poke the bear when one appeared in her own backyard. The wild animal started to chase down her dog Zeus, so Bailey Jacobson sprung into action, yelling out and sprinting after them. But the bear soon pivoted and lunged at Bailey, making her the one to turn tail and run. To some breaking news now, and straight to police reporter Jacob Chico. Jacob, a crime scene has just been declared in Albany Creek. What can you tell us?
Mia, this one just into the newsroom. We understand there is a heavy police presence at Jamberoo Street in Albany Creek. We are hearing the bodies of a man and a woman have been found this evening, both with gunshot wounds, around 5:30 p.m. It's still unclear what happened at Jamberoo Street. We know police are investigating this right now. There is a heavy emergency service present. We don't know yet if there is a suspect or if police are looking for anyone, but certainly that is what emergency services are focusing on. So just to confirm there, a man and a woman found dead with gunshot wounds at Jamberoo Street in Albany Creek. Mia?
Jacob, we'll keep across that one. Thank you so much. Well, next we're going to sport and we're live to Maroons camp. How will James Tedesco's call-up impact their plans? Plus, the heartbroken Dolphins, please explain to the NRL. And at the end of sport, how airlines are changing the way you board a flight. Plus, the secret to a long life from a woman celebrating a century.
And winter certainly arrived today with some dry west-southwesterly winds. It was beautiful blue skies, but that means some cold mornings heading our way this week and some coolish days. All the details in your 7-day forecast for the first week of winter.
Forget bulk billing. Now there's a new and easier way to never pay a cent for a visit to the doctor.
How you can now use your private health insurance to see GPs for free.
But will those Queenslanders without private health cover be unfairly penalised?
9 News, your news, Monday.
James Tedesco feared his representative career could be over. Now the Blues need him more than ever. Called into camp with scans ruling Dylan Edwards out of the Origin Series opener with a quad injury.
Bit of a wild 24 hours. Matt called me yesterday after the captain's run and said that it could be a chance, so I just had to wait till this morning, and I was either going to bed playing the game today or coming into camp, so it was a bit crazy, but I'm just, it's obviously a huge honour, privilege to be back.
Tedesco only has 2 training sessions with the team. Satisfied though, that's enough. So how will the Blues reshuffle impact Queensland's game plan? Let's go to Adam Jackson, who's with a member of the Maroons coaching staff.
Yeah, that's right, Dom. Matt Ballin, the assistant coach, has been kind enough to join us. Matt, bit of conjecture, given that Tedesco originally wasn't named in the Blues 20-man squad, whether or not he should be allowed to play. Are the Maroons comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think so. They've obviously got about their ways of organising him to come into the team. They've lost Dylan Edwards, and Teddy's, the right replacement for him.
Now, a lot of the Maroons training this week has focused defensively on nullifying Dylan Edwards. How much does it change the game plan now Tedesco plays one?
Yeah, we've just worried about our own backyard really at the moment, Adam. We've done everything we can do to prepare well individually for the game, and as we get closer to the game, we'll start looking at New South Wales. So it's probably worked out pretty well for us that we haven't done too much work on all their individual players. So we're just going to turn up and give a good Queensland performance.
And different looking Queensland we'll see this time around. Team-wise, what makes you confident based on the training sessions you've seen this group of Maroons will get the job done?
Yeah, well, at the start of the year we sat down and spoke about what these players will go back to their clubs and how they want to play and the traits of a Queensland player. And we've touched on that in the first week or so of camp. The players have bought into what Billy and the rest of the coaching staff have asked them to do. And we go about each training session knowing that we're one session closer to the game, and all we can control is how we train and how we play as a unit. And there'll be 17 proud Queenslanders going out there next Wednesday.
Well, thanks for your time here tonight, Matt. We really appreciate it. And Don, the Maroons will be on the move tomorrow. They'll depart their Gold Coast training base here and head down to enemy territory to finalise their preparations for Game 1 in Sydney.
Thank you, AJ, and you have a safe flight yourself. Despite missing 6 players due to Origin, the Dolphins head into their bye week, ruining missed opportunities to beat the Raiders in a back-and-forth Golden Point cliffhanger. Max Plath frustrated by his own silly mistake, while captain Jesse Bromwich is waiting on scan results on a chest injury. A sombre atmosphere post-game at Redcliffe. Dolphins players with plenty to mull over after victory slipped through their fingers in a Golden Point heartbreaker.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that might be my first one. I was really enjoying it. I thought we were dead set going to get over.
It's really tough, eh? We shoot ourselves in the foot a couple of times in that game.
With the Dolphins pair on Maroons duties watching on, Jermaine Asako slotted a 72nd minute field goal for a 25-24 lead before Jordan Rapana responded, sending the game into Golden Point. Asako looked to land the match winner, but Max Plath was penalised for blocking.
I think it was probably the 78th minute of me playing, and I was a bit fatigued, and there's no excuse for that sort of stuff. It was a silly play for me, and it cost us in the end.
Rapana sealing the game for the visitors, but Jeremy Marshall-King claims he was held back.
You'll have to wait till Monday till Graham Annesley gives his report about all the mistakes they made.
Wayne Bennett also fuming over losing Connolly Lemuelu and Herbie Farnworth to HIAs. The Raiders getting off scot-free during the game.
I've got 2 players knocked out tonight and no reports, no penalties. Both were head highs.
We had to lose Herbie Farnworth, one of our marquee signings too, and you notice that it's a HIA because he got hit in the head and you don't give us a penalty. We got that. We might have got a kick for goal. It is frustrating. That was a big moment in the game.
Anthony Milford, on the other hand, was placed on report for a head press on Sebastian Kris, the Raiders scoring soon after. It was setback after setback for the Dolphins after losing Trey Fuller late to a HIA. Skipper Jesse Bromwich leaving the field early with a suspected rib cartilage injury.
He's a big go-forward player for us, so I hope he's all right and he comes back all right with that rib.
Following their bye, the Dolphins have the chance for fins up again against the Sharks in Sydney. Fremantle has jumped into the AFL top 8, thumping Melbourne by 92 points in Alice Springs. The Dockers scoring 71 points in the first half, their most in more than 5 years, backing it up in the second half to win 141 points to 49. And the Suns have also leapt back into the top 8, taking down the second place Bombers 91 to 80 on the Gold Coast. The Kings of the Champions League have done it again. Real Madrid defeating Borussia Dortmund 2-0 to win the tournament's final at London's Wembley Stadium. Madrid have now lifted the trophy 15 times. Alex de Minaur has become the first Australian man to reach the fourth round of the French Open in 17 years. The world number 11 staying composed through rain delays to defeat German Jan-Lennard Struff in 4 sets. Minjee Lee is in position to win her second US Women's Open Golf Championship. The Aussie is in a 3-way tie for the lead heading into the final day, thanks to an impressive 4 under par third round. The Firebirds have pulled off a huge upset, dominating the Thunderbirds from start to finish for just their second win of the season. Queensland never trailed, going up against the defending premiers, leading by as much as 14 in the fourth quarter. The Firebirds running out 52 to 42 winners. After a rusty return to the water in her first race yesterday, Jess Fox has found form again, winning the first C1 World Cup event of the season in Germany.
We can see on the results, like, it was a hard race, and I'm just so happy to be back and looking forward to the next few races.
There are now 2 more canoe slalom World Cup stops before the Paris Olympics. And Mia, can you believe it? The games now start next month.
Oh mon dieu. I need to say that. I can't really speak French, Tommy, but I'm trying.
Yeah, that sounded good to me.
Yeah, great, excellent. We'll have some baguettes next weekend. Thanks, Tommy. Well, a big change is coming to how we board our flights. Qantas announcing the rollout of group boarding for its domestic flights. The change will see passengers allocated to one of 6 groups according to cabin, frequent flyer status and seat position, with each group given a specific time to board. The approach is commonly used overseas, but it's the first time it's been adopted in Australia and will be implemented here in Brisbane as well as Melbourne and Perth. A Gold Coast Centenarian is celebrating 100 wonderful years today. Dorothy Parkinson, known as Auntie Dot, ringing in her special milestone, surrounded by family and friends, filling 9 years in on her tips to living a long and healthy life. She says, love this, a Chardonnay a day keeps the doctor away.
Having a happy married life, that's all I think. And the English weather, it keeps you good. You can't get sunburn.
Oh, good on you, Auntie Dot. The former Brit, who's called Australia home for 59 years, is expecting her card from the King in the coming days. Well, in just 3 minutes, the national surge in cases of a contagious and potentially deadly virus as temperatures start to drop. Who's most at risk and how to protect your family from infection? That explainer is just moments away. But first, Garry Youngberry is back with a check on the weather. And Gaz, good evening to you. All that overnight rain cleared to a beautiful Sunday. It was lovely.
It certainly was, me. Yes, that rain band cleared early hours of the morning, leaving us with picture-perfect sunrise and a classic winter's day. We had a great sunset as well, but that temperature dropping rapidly. It's already down to 14 degrees in the city. Your full forecast up next.
Medical professionals are preparing for a national increase in hospital admissions of babies and infants with the respiratory virus RSV. As Claire Todd-Hunter explains, there are calls for Queensland's immunisation program to be rolled out nationwide.
Australia has already recorded more than 47,000 RSV cases in under 5-year-olds so far this year, representing 70% of all respiratory infections in infants. It's already nearly 2/3 of the total number of cases reported last year. Infectious diseases experts now fearing a tsunami of cases. Queensland has the second highest number of RSV notifications in the country for all age groups, 20,000 reported already, but only 45% of those in children, compared to New South Wales, where babies and infants make up 61% of cases. Queensland's hospitalisation data for RSV is also lower for children. 27 of 84 current hospitalisations are under 5-year-olds. The Immunisation Foundation of Australia says the lower rate of infant admission is thanks to our all-infant RSV immunisation program introduced 6 weeks ago, with an estimated uptake of around 10,000 jabs. Queensland Health encouraging parents to speak to their GP to book their children in as we head into winter.
Time now for your full weather forecast with the Garry, Youngberry. And Gaz, how's the first week of winter, can't believe I'm saying that, shaping up so far?
Oh, me, you've got to love days like today with blue skies, those dry west-southwesterly winds and some fresh mornings. That's exactly what we're going to get this week. Both the minimum and maximum temperatures will be a little bit below average and nothing more than a possible coastal shower towards the end of the week. But tomorrow, just like today, we're heading for a great start to the working week. But as I mentioned, it's getting cold already here in the city. Let's have a look what we recorded over southeast Queensland. And there were plenty of single-digit temperatures inland. Not too bad near the coast this morning, while daytime temperatures, well, they struggled to make it into the low 20s. It took until sort of mid-afternoon. Toowoomba only reached 16 degrees at 3 p.m. Here in Brisbane, eventually 22 at 2:15 the Savo. Most of the coast and suburbs just in the low 20s. Now, to the weather map, a low-pressure system in the Tasman Sea will maintain strong winds, large waves and rain for Tassie. A trough in the west will deliver showers across Western Australia, but a chilly morning, Victoria, New South Wales and southern Queensland. Interstate, a shower or two in Perth, cloudy for Adelaide and Melbourne, rain for Hobart, shower or two in Alice Springs, sunny for Darwin and 32 degrees, Sydney sunny and just 19. Queensland for Monday, sunny and warm for a winter's day in Cairns and Townsville, sunny and mild in Mackay, a cool morning in Rocky and Gladstone, but a magic day. A cold morning for Gympie, down to 7 degrees overnight, but plenty of blue sky will follow right across the wide bay. A cold morning inland as well, 7 the low in Longreach, but a dry sunny day, Roma a top of just 17. Southeast Queensland for Monday, it will feel like a winter's morning, single-digit temperatures in fresh west to southwesterly winds. Blue skies and sunshine to follow. Below average daytime temperatures only just reaching into the low 20s. Moreton Bay, west southwesterlies 10 to 15 knots. It'll be beautiful inshore tomorrow with the seas below 1 metre. Brisbane, sunshine, fresh west southwesters, a low of 11 overnight, a top of 21 degrees. Your 7-day outlook, mostly sunny Tuesday, 21, partly cloudy and 22 Wednesday. Thursday, 20, Friday, the forecast just 19 at this stage. It will warm up and be mostly fine for Saturday. Ipswich, sunny Tuesday and 22, partly cloudy for the rest of the week. Cold mornings, cool days, getting as low as 5 degrees sort of Tuesday, Wednesday morning. For the Goldie, fine start to the week. Cool mornings and days, slight chance of a brief shower Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Sunshine Coast, Tuesday we're looking fine and cool. Wednesday partly cloudy, slight chance of a shower Thursday, and then once again those below average minimum and maximum temperatures. But all in all, Mia, no complaints. Certainly with a day like today, we're looking good again tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Winter in Queensland is wonderful. Gaz, thank you. Well, before we go, here's Nick McKenzie with a quick look at what's coming up on tonight's 60 Minutes.
Thanks, Mia. Tonight?
I can't believe that this person would hate me that much.
Is there a more despised murderer than Robert Farquharson?
To want to murder his own children.
He drowned his 3 young sons by driving his car into a dam.
Didn't shed a tear. Very egocentric personality.
But why then are so many experts now questioning the evidence used to convict him?
Would not pass a basic scientific test.
That's tonight after Travel Guides. Back to you, Mia.
Thanks, Nick. We'll see you then. Well, that is 9 News Queensland for your Sunday. Thank you so much for your company this weekend. Don't forget, Travel Guides is up next. And I'm Mia Glover, of course, from all of us here. Good night. We'll see you next weekend.